Yes, you're most welcome to online computer stroke ICT lessons. Today we are going to look at the history and evolution of computer. All this we have been moving through together. We looked at the professionals, looked at the computer literacy in the last lesson. Having looked at the computer literacy, today we now want to look at the history and evolution of computers. Now, the history of computers is centered around man's life and work. Okay, this one started with an attempt to create a machine which could memorize and store information and be able to present, retrieve the information when the need arose. So the first area of application was actually in the area of commerce. However, of course, we know that commerce is the study of maybe buying or trading, buying and selling of goods. So, however, when the developments of computers came in, the spread moved to other sectors, say education. Today we have in medicine, we have in banking, we have in entertainment, military, and even for domestic purposes. Okay, so in that area, as I have said, that the interest first of all was in the area of commerce. I'll introduce to you a man who was interested in collecting taxes. Okay, so the history of computers can be divided into three, and we are going to look at these three major parts. The first one is the simple calculating devices, and then secondly we shall look at the mechanical era. Then lastly, we shall also cover the computer generations. Now, when we look at the early computers, when we talk about the early computers, we mean the simple calculating devices. Now, the first computing device was actually the abacus. It was used for volumes of computing in countries like China, Babylon, Japan for thousands of years before the coming of Jesus Christ. You can imagine. So this device, it allowed its users to make computations, okay, using a system of sliding beads but arranged on a rod. You know, when we were growing up in primary section, you remember that a teacher would tell us to come with the sticks and we make our own abacus. Okay, so it was something like that. So this was mostly used by early shopkeepers in China. I don't know why things start from China, to help them in their daily business transactions. No wonder even today they are leading us in business as we follow anyway. So below are the examples of simple calculating devices. Of course, we shall look at the personalities also who invented them, and also the years when these devices were invented. Okay, this part is very important. The examples of the calculating devices, don't cram them but understand them. The personalities who invented them, and then the years when these devices were actually invented. The first one is Napoleon Bonds. Napoleon Bonds, this was a gentleman, a Scotsman, okay? A Scotsman named Napoleon Bonds, okay? So I say that we are going to look at the simple calculating device and the personality and then the years. Now when you look here, the first is Napoleon Bonds, okay? The Napoleon Bonds was a device, a calculating device, okay? This device was invented by a Scotsman named Napier, John Napier. No wonder even the device itself that invented, he had to put his what? His name, Napier. Now this was in 1614. Okay, so in 1614 they invented logarithms, which are a technology actually that allows multiplication to be performed, okay, addition. Now the magic ingredient in the logarithm of each operand, okay, was originally obtained from a printable table. Now Napier also invented an alternative to the tables, where the logarithm values were carved in ivory sticks, which are now called the Napoleon Bonds. Are we together? I said take note of the invention, the person who invented, and then the year. So we have Napier Bonds. The Scotsman is John Napier, and in 1614 we have the second one as the slide rule. Now Napier's invention led directly to the slide rule. Okay, so the slide rule, this one was built in England. That was in 1632, and actually still in use in the 1960s. Today I'm not sure, but it was developed first by William Ottergren in the 1620s, and it was based on the concept of logarithms. Okay, so you can see from 1614, now we have the slide rule in 1632. Okay, but it was also first developed in 1620, meaning that each invention was leading to another. Very interesting. Now when you get the mechanical error here, the Pascaline, in 1642, Blaise Pascal, at the age of 18, he invented the Pascaline. This one was an aid for his father. As I said in the beginning, that I will introduce to you someone who was a tax collector. So the Pascaline was invented as an aid to his father, who was a Frenchman tax collector. This calculator added long columns of figures. No wonder today when you have simple calculators. Okay, so this calculator which added long columns of figures, Pascal's machine only performed addition. Now someone will think about addition, division, multiplication, but this machine was only adding. He was a tax collector. He was only interested in addition of his money, not subtracting. Yes. Now when you look at the Leibniz calculator, now this one, just a few years after Pascal, okay, the German Gottfried, okay, he managed to build a 4-function calculator. As I was saying, it was able to do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I think to some extent we are still using such a calculator. We are going to get to know. So this calculator that he called the stepped reckoner, okay, Leibniz was the first to advocate for the use of the binary number system. This is very fundamental in the operation of modern computer. By the way, he is considered one of the greatest of the philosophers, but very unfortunate, he died a very poor person, and he died alone, having had a son who actually helped to do most of the things, but he died after coming up with a calculator that would add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Remember, behind here we had the one that was only performing one function, just adding. Now we have the stepped reckoner which does the 4 function, and somebody dies, a poor person. Now we need to look at the punched cards. In 1801, a Frenchman, Joseph Marie Jagat, invented the punched card machine. This was to operate the weaving looms. These cards stored instructions altogether using a hole and a novel control method. As you can see here, this was the Jagad's loom, showing the threads and the punched cards. You can see the threads and the punched cards. Okay, we can see Jagad himself making the cards. Now, this one takes us to the analytical engine. The analytical engine, this is the real beginning of computers. So the real beginning of computers began with an English professor called Charles Babbage, not Charles MUDAWA. Take note, because for me I'm Charles MUDAWA, but this is Charles Babbage. And people who are in computing, most of them are called Charles, but this is Charles Babbage, and this was in 1792 to 1871. So this was the most outstanding development in computing. Imagine 1792. So he developed the analytical engine, which was able to combine the arithmetic and the processed data on its own. Altogether. Now, the analytical engine was recognized as the milestone. When we talk of a milestone, it means signifying the start of computer age. Therefore, Charles Babbage is recognized as the father of modern computing. Yes, we have also the Horarius tabulator. In 1889, an inventor called Hermann Horarius created a machine that used cards to store data and information, which was fed into the machine and compiled the results mechanically. Now, as I said, having looked at that background, the evolution, we need to look at the computer generation. Our computer generations will be in our next tutorial. Okay, I want to thank you for subscribing and sharing the link. Please continue sharing so that we can continue learning together.